Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in America and in the world. Coming to you from the East Coast of the United States, my name is Vin Ratford. I'm the CEO of Piera Systems. The title of my topic is What's in Your Air? Hopefully in the next 30 minutes you'll learn a little bit more about air quality and how to monitor it, particularly in indoor spaces. And since all buildings are different, basically monitoring air quality accurately allows a building's health to be assessed, to identify sources of pollution, and measure the overall effectiveness of steps taken to improve the health and productivity. And I'm going to show you today how Piera Systems has integrated our Canāree Air Quality Monitors into Aruba Access Points in a seamless manner to provide you with low cost, easy to use air quality monitoring in a post-pandemic world. So I'm going to talk a little bit about air quality and how it impacts health and productivity. We're going to talk about how the importance of monitoring indoor air quality in a post-COVID world, not just for COVID and viruses, but also for the general health of your staff and your employees. How our technology basically differentiates from other air quality monitors that are out there, and how you can get started pretty quickly. So a couple of points about measuring air quality indoors. First of all, indoor air quality has a much bigger impact on your health than outdoor air quality. Indoor air quality can be 2 to 5 times more deadly than traditional outdoor air quality. And indoors, it's subject to very drastic, rapid changes because of the introduction of basically sources of air pollution by human beings. And existing buildings, in particular the ventilation and filtration systems, are really not optimized for filtration. They're really optimized for energy conservation. And a lot of the products that are coming onto the market, air purifiers, and you hear about the different kinds of ionization, etc. A lot of these are not very effective. And the best way to understand whether they're working properly in your building is to continuously monitor. So there's a lot of different sources of indoor pollutants. A lot of them are caused by human beings. Some of them come from the outdoors, cooking, viruses, etc. And there's been a lot of articles in the press recently about the need to clean up the air in buildings and to try to basically get a better overall assessment of what's going on inside. Another question we often get asked is, what's the return on investment if I spend money on investing in air quality? Well, I think you'll see at the end of this presentation, the cost to do this is pretty low and the benefits are pretty high. In particular, the health of the employees and the improved staff productivity. These have been well documented in a number of studies, and the return on investment can be as high as 120%. So it's in the best interest of your company to implement some type of indoor air quality monitoring. So let's talk a little bit about air for a moment. Basically, the air you're breathing has particulate matter that's suspended in it, and the smallest particulate matter is the most unhealthy. And if the particulate matter gets to be too high, then it can dramatically affect your health. And really, particulate matter breaks down into 3 different sizes. What you might think of as coarse, or PM10, which you're looking at is a screenshot from a dust storm in China recently. PM 2.5, this is typically smaller particles, what are called fine particles. Wildfires in California and the west coast of the United States have been a big source of these kind of particulates. But the most dangerous stuff is this stuff you can't actually see. These are what we call PM 1.0 and below, or submicron. These are the ultrafine particles. And historically, there hasn't been a good way to measure these very, very small particles. The current sensors that are in the marketplace and the current air quality monitors don't really do that. There aren't really any traditional guidelines from the government. In the United States, it's the EPA. I'm sure in your local area, you've got your own jurisdictions. And so the problem is this 1 micron, submicron and below has been an area where there hasn't been any measurement capability. And And that's where Piera Systems technology really is quite effective. So the only way to really get the whole picture of the air quality in your building is to really measure the coarse particles, the fine particles, and the ultrafine particles. And we have the only sensor on the market that is capable of measuring all three different sizes and counts the individual particles. That's going to become important in a moment when we show you how the identification of the source of the pollution can be done by looking at the pattern of the signatures from the particles themselves. You're going to see that. We call that classification. So our product is a product called Canāree. It's spelled C-A-N hard A R-E-E. Those of you that are young enough to remember canary in the coal mine is typically what coal miners used to take down in a mine to be able to understand if the air was good or bad. And if the canary died, it was time to get out. Well, that's what Canāree does. It's basically an air quality monitor that plugs directly into an Aruba access point. So the access points are in the ceiling already. They're deployed. They have a USB port. Canāree plugs directly into it. It's a very small device, and it immediately gets power and communication from the Aruba access point. It's highly accurate. It leverages the existing wireless infrastructure, so there's no wiring, no setup required. We have software, real-time dashboard that gives you alerts and insights into the air quality in the building. We've got an algorithm that can classify the sources, starting with vape and smoke detection in real time. And all the data is available on the cloud and for analytics purposes. And from a pricing perspective, you have a couple of choices. You can buy the units themselves and deploy them into your cloud, or you can basically lease them from us in a leasing model, and we'll deploy them and monitor the data directly for you. We have three different models. We have a model that plugs directly into the wireless access point here, and we have a couple of standalone models that basically have their own Wi-Fi connection built in, and one of them measures particulate matter, the other measures additional gases like CO2 and VOCs and temperature and humidity, etc. So what differentiates our technology from everybody else? It's basically the fact that at the end of the day, we're delivering a very accurate instrument in a very low cost package. What you're looking at right now is a plot between our sensor on the top here and the GRIM 11D, which is $25,000 reference instrument that you could install in a building to monitor air quality. You can see there's almost perfect correlation between the two. The plots look almost identical. So we're highly accurate. The sensor itself can measure all different sizes of particles and report the count. And it can actually measure very high levels of air pollution, unlike additional sensors that are available in the marketplace. And how do we do that? Well, basically, it's done with a custom processor that's developed by us that sits inside the sensor, and compare that to existing low-cost sensors that are out there in the marketplace. The difference is we see every single particle uniquely, and we count every single particle using this custom ASIC. The competition that's out there, the low-cost sensors, basically sees a cloud of particles and doesn't really able to discriminate the individual particles themselves. So much more detailed information about the count of the particles and the size of the particles and their distribution allows us to be able to more accurately measure the quality of the air, and most importantly, to be able to classify the sources. Why is this important? Well, it's pretty simple. Classification, if you know the air is bad, the first question you ask yourself is, why is it bad? What's causing it, and what can I do about it? So in order to measure the kind of particles that typically appear indoors, you need to measure below 1 micron. What you're looking at right now is a series of plots using different sources, incense, cigarettes, cooking, and other viruses obviously are in this category. And you can see fundamentally that below 1 micron, 10 to the third nanometers is below 1 micron. that's where our sensor measures everything, and the competition really stops at about 1 micron. So the competition cannot classify the particles, we can. Why is that important? At the end of the day, if you can classify what the sources are, you can start to begin to understand what's causing the air to be bad, and you can start to do something to take action. And a good example of that is we have what's called a vape and smoke detection algorithm. You know, if you're in a building where people are smoking, or you're in a multi-family dwelling where, you know, maybe your neighbors are smoking and that affects your air quality, our Canāree device will pick that up very, very quickly, even at small levels of concentration, and it's able to distinguish uniquely between vape and smoke using proprietary algorithms. The unit actually has a little light on it that flashes red or purple, depending on what the source can be, and the dashboard reflects exactly what's happening in the sensor. In this way, you can monitor a network of sensors throughout the building and understand what's going on. So Canāree is basically a complete solution for air quality monitoring. It leverages the infrastructure already in place, meaning the wireless access points. It can also be used standalone in a Wi-Fi mode, and you can locate it anywhere in the building, or you can plug it into a laptop, and then you can connect it up to our cloud and monitor the information in real time using our Sensei AQ software, or you can basically send it to your cloud and gather the data and use it to control building management systems, turn on and off air purifiers, etc. So who are the kind of people that would benefit from something like this? Well, it's basically schools where maybe people are concerned about air quality as they return to school after COVID, offices, hotels where smoking may be an issue, hospitals where the air quality needs to be very, very good, and people want to know in real time what it's like in every location in the building. So from a pricing and a distribution perspective, the Canāree devices basically started about $199 for the model that plugs into the Aruba Access Points, $249 for the model that has its own Wi-Fi and standalone, and $299 for the model that has additional sensors to measure temperature, pressure, humidity, etc. And a typical installation would be one of our Canāree i5 units to monitor all of the information, and then a number of these i1 units distributed throughout a building. Typically, they're located about 300 cubic meters apart. Which are typically about how far apart the Aruba access points are spaced. So in addition to a purchase model, we have what we call the lease model, where you basically pay a flat fee per year. We provide all the devices, we install them, we maintain them, we replace them if any of them are defective, and that's a flat fee per year. We have multi-year agreements. A good way to get started is to basically purchase some number of these devices and install them in your building and start monitoring the building air quality and understanding what it looks like. We've got an audit kit that we talk about. And if you're interested, depending on the region of the world you're in, we've got a number of Aruba VARs and distributors that can support you. We have AeroWire in India, Hitachi in Singapore, Hitachi Data Systems. We actually got a project we're working with them on to put air quality monitors into the zoo, the National Zoo in Singapore. In Kazakhstan, we've got a company called Kazproftech. In South America, Procom in Argentina. In Canada, X10 Networks, and in the United States, CanCom. So if you're interested in our air quality monitors, there's probably a distributor near you, or you can contact your local Aruba sales rep. So, you know, it really comes down to, at the end of the day, are you monitoring the quality of the air in your building? If not, why not, right? If you are interested in doing that, then you can contact us and we'll help you understand how you might take advantage of our technology in your building. If you've got Aruba Access Points installed, then you've got the infrastructure already in place to take advantage of this. If not, we can provide Wi-Fi units to cover spaces where there are no Aruba Access Points. If you are looking at different air quality technologies, air purifiers, other kinds of mitigation strategies, we strongly recommend that you install monitors to first understand what the building looks like. Every building is going to be different. Every usage pattern is going to be different. And before spending a lot of money on air cleaning, you first should understand what's the building look like. And we can work with you on what type of space, how many square feet, where do you need to put these things, and how do we either control or activate some of these other air purification technologies before you start to deploy them. So it really comes down to when do you want to get started and how can we effectively deliver a solution to you. So kind of wrapping up here, we've got a flyer. You can go to our website, www.pierasystems.com. You can basically look at the information on our product line, and if you're interested, you can find out more there. There's a detailed brochure on the Canaree devices and the value of an integration with Aruba. Our requirement is to be able to support version 8.8 release because we're basically we're basically tested and qualified for that particular release. But if you want to keep your employees healthy and productive by monitoring the air quality and eliminating pollutants in the building, we strongly recommend you take a look at our Canaree devices. And you'll see fundamentally from some of these studies that poor air impacts health and productivity, and having Canaree devices in the building and being able to see that the air quality will give you and your employees peace of mind, deliver more productive work environments for people. So Canaree and Aruba together basically deliver a secure, affordable air quality monitoring solution to accurately monitor and improve indoor air quality, to be able to classify sources of pollution like cigarette smoke, vape smoke, cooking, outdoor air, etc., and can seamlessly integrate with your existing HVAC systems, your building management, your air purifiers, and your building management software. So if you want to have healthy spaces, you need Piera in your building.